Alright, let's dive into something that's got the MotoGP world scratching their heads. Marc Marquez baffling tyre drop at the British GP Sprint. Now, if you're like me, you probably watched that race and thought, what just happened? Marquez, a rider who's known for his precision and aggression, suddenly found himself slipping down the order like he was on ice. And no, it wasn't just a bad day at the office. There's a lot more to this story than meets the eye. First off, let's set the stage. Marquez started strong, passing Marco Bezzecchi on the first lap, looking like he was in control. But then, around lap 5, things started to unravel. Bezzecchi repassed him, and Marquez began dropping into the 2 minutes and 0 seconds, while the leaders were still in the 1 minute and 58 seconds. That's a massive gap, and it's not something you expect from a rider of Marquez's caliber. Personally, I think this is where the Real story begins, not just the drop itself, but why it happened so early and so dramatically. What makes this really interesting is Marquez's post-race comments. He mentioned experiencing a new feeling in the sprint race, specifically a massive drop in rear tire performance. Now, tire wear is a common issue in racing, but this wasn't just degradation, it was graining. For those who aren't familiar, graining is when the rubber tears from the tread but sticks back on the tire, creating an uneven surface. It's like trying to drive on a tire that's half-bald, but the bald spots keep shifting. In my opinion, this is a detail that's often overlooked in racing analysis, but it's crucial here. It's not just about the tire wearing out, it's about the tire behaving unpredictably. From my perspective, the bigger question is why Marquez's tire grained so much earlier than his rivals. Michelin brought the asymmetric soft and medium rear tires, and everyone opted for the soft compound. So, it's not like Marquez was running the wrong tire. What many people don't realize is that tire graining isn't just about the compound. It's about how the tire interacts with the track temperature, the bike setup, and the rider style. Marquez's Ducati is known for its aggressive power delivery, and I wonder if that played a role here. If you take a step back and think about it, maybe the bike setup wasn't optimized for the conditions, or perhaps Marquez's riding style exacerbated the issue. One thing that immediately stands out is Marquez's frustration. He said, "I was suffering a lot, risking a crash a lot." That's not something you hear from him often. Marquez is a fighter, but even he couldn't battle this. What this really suggests is that the issue wasn't just mechanical, it was psychological. When you're constantly fighting your bike, it takes a toll on your confidence and focus. And in a sport where milliseconds matter, that's a huge disadvantage. This raises a deeper question. How much of this was preventable? Marquez admitted that they didn't experience this issue in practice, which means the team didn't have any warning signs. A detail I find fascinating is that he said, "In practice, we never had that drop on the rear tire." So, was it a fluke? Or was there something about the race conditions that triggered the graining? Personally, I think it's a combination of factors: track temperature, tire pressure, and maybe even the way Marquez was pushing the bike early on. What's also worth noting is the championship implications. Marquez dropped to 4th in the standings, 29 points behind leader Jorge Martin. In a season where consistency is key, a single bad race can cost you the title. From my perspective, this isn't just a technical issue, it's a strategic one. How will Marquez and his team bounce back? Will they find a solution for the main race, or will this become a recurring problem? If you ask me, the most intriguing part of this story is the uncertainty. Marquez said, "Let's see if tomorrow we can find a solution, but the thing is that we will have the doubt even starting the race with some solution." That's a rider who's not just dealing with a technical issue but also the mental weight of not knowing if it'll happen again. It's like going into battle with a weapon you're not sure will fire. So, here's my closing thought. MotoGP is as much about problem solving as it is about speed. Marquez's tire drop isn't just a setback, it's a puzzle. And how he and his team solve it could define the rest of his season. What do you think? Is this a one-off issue, or is there something deeper at play? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown. Until next time, keep the throttle wide open.